Michael, as always, as tradition, let's start with an injury update. How are the guys?
So Pordy's not trained yet, so he's touch and go for the weekend. We've still got to see how he gets on. If you can get through, that's a dead leg. It's a really bad dead leg, so it's not a pull and a strain. Everyone I think thought it was a pull. It wasn't. It's a really powerful hurt dead leg. So he's still struggling with that. Who else have we got? Rico's come back with a little bit of a strain, so again another one that we've just got to manage, see if he's fit for the weekend. Good news, Eric's back with us, back in contention, so that's really good news for us. So he's back quick and recovered from what he had, and then pretty much the rest is as is really.
So obviously centre back situation, Jacko's still out, Hamer's still out for a while.
Correct. Yeah, Jacko very close, probably a bit too close on this one, but he's very close. Maybe for Tuesday, maybe not. But if not Tuesday, hopefully Saturday for Jacko. And then Hamer's obviously out until the new year.
Beautiful stuff. It's been over a year now since you took over the club, I think a year and a week, and 51 matches. Just kind of a bit of a landmark. How do you reflect back on your time at the club so far?
Loved it. Loved every minute of it. Loved the club. Loved the players. Loved working with the guys. They're great. They're a great group of players, and loved every minute of the old players and new players. The group. It's a special place. Love the fans. Love everything about what we're trying to do and what we're trying to build. It's in some ways it's gone really quick. In some other ways it's a lot of games, and that's part of my learning. Is now we get into another pretty tough part of the season with Saturday, Tuesday. I think it's pretty relentless on that. So just loved every minute of it.
We know all managers have their philosophies. How do you think you've changed over this year in terms of how you think football should be played and things like that?
I think there's philosophies and then there's ways of doing things to get the best out of a group. And I think for me the principles in what you want to do don't change, but how you get the best out of a group is always the challenge. And how I might want to play or not want to play is part of the job, but also part of the job is how you maximise what you've got in the building with the players. And I think being adaptable in this league is probably one of the biggest things, going away to certain teams, being at home to other teams. And I think probably the philosophy is keeping your principles, but at the same time willing to adapt and willing to improve in certain areas. And I think we've done that with how we want to be and what we want to look like, and we've still got loads of growth in other areas that we'll improve on. But if you look at the set piece record we've got at the minute, and that was one of the big ticket items that we wanted to improve on. I think we're doing that with Scotty Fry's work, but also the lads are putting a lot of onus on that and a lot of attention. But there's also other areas that we're doing really well on, and there's other areas that we want to keep improving on in terms of how we want to play in our game model, if you like, and we need to keep pushing that forward.
I suppose the big standout thing in terms of how the team has played is the fact that they're the only team with under 40% possession. You look at Birmingham, obviously different style, they've got 70%. Does that show how much you emphasise the off-the-ball work?
No, I think it's a mix, because there's we want to get better in possession, but better in possession doesn't mean just having the ball. There's a lot of teams that will play around the back and then get loads of numbers. No doubt we want more possession, but for me, I've always said I'd rather have more possession in the attacking half. And keep the ball longer in the attacking half. When we do get mixed up, and when there is times in games where we have high possession. First part of second half at Exeter, we had more possession. But for me, it's like how well we hurt teams when we do have the ball, and how hard we are to break down is a real strength of us as a weapon. So as we keep improving with, if you like, the sexy bit of football that everyone talks about, we've got the other stuff as well. We've got the other stuff that keeps us hard to beat, strong to beat, and that's why we pick up points in this league. But no doubt we have to improve in certain areas, and that's probably one of the areas we want to improve on. But what we don't want to do is lose what we have at the same time.
I was looking at some of the minutes played. Obviously, your top three is Tendai, Sean and Pordy. They've got the most minutes. That shows the consistency at the back and how important it is to build from the back. And obviously, goals come in all different shapes and sizes, but you have to have that foundation.
Yeah, I think those three particularly have done so far brilliantly this season in terms of their consistency of performance. First and foremost, the way that they can touch wood, churn out games. It's really important, and if we can keep consistent, and that's probably one of the biggest learnings in my year, is the consistency of the player, the consistency of training, the consistency of our performance is probably one of the biggest things that we have. And I think if you were to ask any team that come and play us, they know they're going to have a tough game because of how consistent we are, with and without the ball. And then it's how we add the cherry on the top to get those draws, if you like, into wins, which is something we're always trying to push for.
It's a tough end to the month, isn't it, with Wycombe this weekend and Wrexham, and then the FA Cup second round. how are the guys preparing for that? Obviously, I suppose with the injury situation, not the best time to face some of those seasons.
Yeah, I think it's a really tough. We're going into a really tough group of games before Christmas. There's no doubt that it's Saturday, Tuesday, lots of travel. Some big teams that we've got to go and try and get points off, and whether that's home or away. But I think that's the beauty of League One. I think that's why we love it. I think that's why it's exciting this year. And I think in every game, as long as we're there trying to fight for points, I think that's when hopefully they fall our way and we can get some points off the teams and try and keep pushing for as much as we can. And whilst we're doing that, hopefully get more bodies back, and then we only strengthen as we go through the season, because I think if we start to get more bodies back for the squad, we improve all the time as well. And then as we improve as a group on the training pitch, I think it's really important. So it's a tough period, there's no doubt about that, but it's probably an exciting period. I think the players, to answer part B, the players will be prepared for every game as best we can. What that might look like at times is people playing in different positions, but because of the injuries, but we'll sure give every game everything we've got to try and get the points.
And finally, Wycombe, most goals scored in the league, best goal difference, unbeaten since 17th of August in the league. That's 12 games. I suppose there's a lot of superlatives going around about them, but it's a huge test for you.
Yeah, I think they're probably and you talk about stats and high stats, low stats. What Wycombe have got, they're very good at everything they do. They're no outstanding one stat, and they're not low on another stat. So if you were to take all the stats across the game that we look at, Wycombe are really, really good in all the different areas, but what they do is score goals, and I think that's the really important stat that the most important stat that we don't talk about enough is scoring and not conceding, and they do those top parts of the pitch very well. They defend well and they score goals well. They're good, and like the game they lost before that 12, I think, was to Villa in the Carabao Cup. So they're on a brilliant run. They're flying. They'll be a tough team. They've got some superb power, and strikers are good on the top line. But like any team, we'll work on their weaknesses and we'll see if we can exploit them, and then we'll go into the game trying to win the game and trying to take the game to them as at home. But there's no doubt they're flying, and I know Matt Bloomfield really well, and they're doing a great job. He's doing a great job up there. Probably gone under the radars. Everyone was talking about the bigger clubs like Birmingham and Charlton and all these bigger clubs, but they're actually flying at the minute. So we want to stop that. We want to try and put our stamp on the game and try and take the game to them and see if we can get 3 points.
Mother Nature's not been too kind to you. Frozen pitches this week, and then it looks like it's going to be horrible, rainy and gusty with wind at the weekend. So it's another challenge to contend with.
Yeah, I think it's been challenging because we've not been able to get on the pitches, so we've been on the 3Gs this week. But again, that's probably part of the league. That's part of the challenge that we have to take on. That's part of working at this level and being in League One. It's the exciting bit, and the lads have been absolutely fantastic, and going down to different areas to train. But yeah, we need to push on and get through that, and get it to aid us and improve us rather than use it as an excuse against something.